So welcome to Epic Battles ACW American Civil War Vlog 1. So I've decided the best way for me to scratch the itch of wanting to produce content for this this new game was to do a bit of a vlog on the channel. It's the easiest way of keeping it all tidy and in one place. The channel isn't just about epic battles, though. That's primarily the only videos you're going to see up there at the moment. For it is for my commission painting business as well, and will basically be the home for anything wargaming that's not to do with the Middle Earth podcast I do, and the small sister channel that also goes with that. So if you're finding this video before and you haven't seen my big long unboxing video, because there's a lot of them on the internet and you may not have watched it, and more power to you for not doing so. I pretty much play two systems, and I have only been playing Middle Earth strategy battle game for a couple of years now, and I do a podcast called Out of the Frying Pan, and there is a little YouTube channel that goes with it. But I am a commission painter, and I do lots of different game systems, and I've played lots of game systems in my past, but I'm just really getting into black powder and getting back into historical gaming, and this is going to be my first sort of foray into it. But I couldn't put videos up about little 13.5mm ACW toy soldiers on a out of the frying pan's Middle Earth only channel. Wouldn't have really worked, so I've decided to start putting some videos up here, and this will be the first vlog. I won't do that introduction on every single video I do, but because it's a new channel I do, and they will be picking up new viewers all the time, so just wanted to give that a little bit of a background. But anyway, vlog 1 is pretty much what I've painted so far. If you have watched the first video, or you do follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, then you would have seen these before. I took some pictures of them with nice little backgrounds and stuff. The eagle-eyed of you will have noticed there are incorrect flags on them. I made up all the flags from the War Games Illustrated magazine in one go, and they are removable. And then quickly before I took pictures, I popped on the Union state flags rather than the Virginian state flags, which was a bit of an error. The right ones are on there. I'm surprised no one's picked up and made a comment on the video yet, especially the way YouTube can be sometimes. Anyway, I thought I'd just show you what I've done so far. So I bought 2 magazines. I've managed to pick up 2 more sprues from eBay before my stuff arrived, hoping to get it all done, and all I did really was get the Confederate stuff done. Let's push them back out the way so that it doesn't mess with the focus, and I will show you briefly what we got here. Let's start with the officers. So I've used a very similar process to that in the War Games Illustrated magazine. I'm still having some focus problems here. So I use an airbrush a lot. I appreciate everyone doesn't have an airbrush, and there are ways of doing this without. But basically the process in the magazine, and I use this process a lot myself for my commission work, is to prime in black, do a zenith or highlight in grey, and I use Vallejo for both of their primers. And if it's a larger model, I'd probably do black and maybe then white for the zenith or highlight. But the grey works perfectly for this, especially for the Confederates anyway, because it gives you a good base to work from. And then I did a dry brush of white, and I wouldn't always do that on a 28mm model. Sometimes I would just leave it as a zenith or highlight. Sometimes I do underpaint essentially and almost paint in grayscale, and then I do glazes over the top, and I've done that with inks and thin paints before, but Citadel's contrast range is really good for it, especially the browns and yellows and anything in that kind of tone. Really good. Lots of very usable colours. So there's a lot of time for contrast and the ability to do that. And I do it, as I said, I do it on larger models as well. Sometimes to form a base coat, and you get a bit of shade in there because of the process you're using, but then I'll usually highlight on top. I suppose this is the first scale I've done less of the highlighting and the tidying up on top, because I've got thousands of these little men to paint. But that's one of my officers. The other one is almost the same, so we can get it to focus. The odd little variants, different colour horse as well. You get a lot of these. You get 1 per sprue. You don't need 1 to go with each regiment, so I may well try and convert a couple of these, even just really simple things at this scale, like a head swap. That would be the easiest. Swap it for any of the troops on the normal sprue. You can get away with it, I'm sure. And that will give it a significant difference in look, just for a bit of variety. I think I could probably reposition the arm without too much work. A tiny bit of green stuff tidying up on the horse's mane, and maybe over the shoulder and things as well. But still very usable. And then the gun crews. Oh, the gun crews. I'll say the whole gun. There you go. Just taking off my paint holder there because it didn't really want to focus. Similar process, really. Slightly different schemes than I have on the inventory guys. I've added some red. So I know a little bit about American Civil War history, but not as much as many of the experts out there, I am sure, watching this, so I will get bits wrong. At this scale, I'm not going to worry too much about odd little bits and bobs, but I knew there were some red facings and hats and things like that, so I think that was enough at this scale just to add to give the feeling. And luckily for us, people who want to paint things quickly and don't mind not every button being counted and correct, the Confederate Army is very, very forgiving in its outlook and its clothing and things. So I'll try and put this back on the paint holder. Let's see if we can get into focus nicely, because it's easier than seeing my messy painty hands at the moment. I've been working this morning. This is my lunch break I'm doing this video in. Here we go. So, as I mentioned, the same process on the sprues as on the rest of the models, and then it's really you're working from that grey base with the pre-shaded the pre-shaded colours and the highlights, and then just adding in colour. And what I will do in a moment is I'll put up a couple of little screenshots of the colours and things I've used. I take notes. I keep notes on my phone. Of all the projects I do that because of clients. It's easier to go back and see how I've painted things if I want to add more, and I do it for myself as well, so I just get a little record of what colours I've used, stick some pictures in there, and I didn't really do a stage by stage. I may do a proper tutorial at some point, but I'll just show you a picture of just as I was starting to paint the trousers in blue. I remember to take a picture of what the grayscale looked like. But if you've got a copy of that War Games Illustrated with the sprues came on, it's very, very similar to the step-by-step guide that's in there. It's a really good guide, and people that haven't tried that method before, it does show you give you a method you can use if you don't have an airbrush, and that's just painting in black or grey and then dry brushing over the top. You can still do a pretty good approximation of this. I'll see you focusing very well as I spin him round. There you go. I won't show you every stand, just show you a stand without the command in there. And just a mixture of different contrast paints. I think the only paints I used that aren't contrast was the metallics on the weapons, and I used scale 75 metallics. I used what did I use? I used black metal, which is a sort of gunmetal-y type colour, and then I used Game Air silver. But other than that, it's all contrast, and then there is a wash on the metals. I use Cryptek Armour Shade, which they suggest using anyway. So I think the order I did it in actually was the Cryptek Armour Shade first, like in the War Games Illustrated tutorial. I've never used that colour before. I picked it up based on their tutorial, and that went straight over the grey pre-shaded models, and then 2 shades of metallic just to pick it out. You could get away with, and I did try this, but I wanted a bit brighter, you could get away with just doing using end of a soft pencil, so like a 6B or something like that, something that's really soft lead, and just actually go over the after you've done the Cryptek Armour Shade, which would be quite good. But I just wanted it to be a little bit neater, and the paintbrush case gives you a little bit more control. And the final thing, so I think I mentioned about the flags earlier, that I put the wrong ones in the initial pictures that I put up, and you can see that flag there falling at half-mast. That shows I haven't glued the flags on. It was originally going to be a temporary measure, and this one I need to tighten up. But I thought by keeping them removable, it might give me a little bit of more flexibility for refighting engagements. That's the only one that's a little bit loose, but that's easily fixed. So I was originally going to do Antietam era Jackson's core. I worked out that with my large bundle and the extra stuff I buy from the different ways, that I've probably got plenty enough, probably got more than enough, based on me not using 5 and 7 Stan regiments. I'll definitely be using 1 to 4. I'll talk about that in another little video more, I suppose. But I thought, well, if I build that whole core, that's great, but I definitely don't want to paint another core just to fight different battles. And let's face it, I'm never going to have a table big enough to fit a core on, probably, let alone multiple cores. And I come up with the idea of maybe having more flags than I need for regiments, and just having them interchangeable, so don't actually glue them on. And keeping them in a little folder that I can find them easily, maybe a collectible card folder or something like that, or a stamp collectors folder or coin collectors folder, anywhere I can shove the flags in with a little label of what they are, and then I can fight a section of Antietam if I want to. But then if I want to do Pickett's Charge from Gettysburg, then I can whip out the flags I need for Longstreet's corps, and I know there's a period of time between those, and I know that Jackson's corps was split after he died, but you know, as a whole, I'm sure a core of those regiments stayed within the corps for a long time. So yeah, just having extra flags might be a really good way of just popping them off, sliding a different one on, and then these very, very small models representing something different, which would be cool. There will be some, obviously, that they can only represent what they're going to be. So once I've painted Louisiana Tigers as Louisiana Tigers, that's generally all they're going to be. And there'll be some exceptions like that with the Union side as well. So the Iron Brigade are going to be the Iron Brigade. But still, I think it gives me the option to turn this collection into something a little bit more flexible. Let me know what you think. Anyway, that's the end of me rabbiting on. I'll probably put a couple of stills up in between this as well, just in case they're a little bit blurry with me moving them around. I will continue to do these short vlogs as I build more and more of these things. I want to get this done as quickly as possible, because I really want to play some games as soon as we're legally allowed to meet up and do things like that again. I do have other projects on the go as well, and I mentioned the other podcast and things. I do have commitments with that, and I definitely want to do those things. So I'm kind of going to be switching between the two systems, and all of the ACW stuff will end up on here. But I'm going to enjoy doing these vlogs. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching them as well, and look for vlog number 2 shortly, where I'll probably be talking about some terrain I've built.